today? It's a toasty one. I am on my way to lunch. It's Thursday. I don't mind Thursdays. I hate Tuesdays. I'm glad we're past that. But I'm going to lunch. I'm going to McDonald's, which is not good for numerous reasons. One, it's wildly unhealthy for me. I know that. I accept. But also it makes me sick every time I eat it, but sometimes I just want McDonald's. And I've noticed it more in the summer. I don't know what that's about, but like in the summer I really want some McDonald's chicken nuggets, even though I don't love them. So that's fun. I've been thinking about what type of content I can post to keep everybody interested. And I called my mom just as a caveat onto my last video. My mom mentioned that my older brother and my sister-in-law also have iPhones. And so she was like calling me out, talking about how I FaceTime my little brother, but I don't FaceTime my older brother. And there's a reason for that. My older brother will text me back if I text him. And so I can keep up with him, whatever. But he texts me back. So I don't have to like hunt him down and call him just to hear about how he's doing. That's why I don't call him. I only call my little brother because other than that, I would have no other way of knowing how he's doing in life. It's not that I like one more than the other or anything like that. It's just one of them is a lot easier to talk to through text. One of them's a lot easier to talk through FaceTime. So that's the story on that. And then another thing I want to mention that my mom mentioned was she said that my dad thinks I ramble too much. Now I know for a fact that I have put in numerous of my videos before that I am random. I just say what I'm thinking, and sometimes I'm thinking different types of things. So I'm gonna ramble, and I'm not always gonna get to the point, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's my videos, and I can do whatever the heck I want to do. Sorry, Dad. I got a tattoo, and I ramble. So I'm officially out of your will, I know. Anyway, I've been thinking about what types of videos that I can do. And so today, it's gonna be my favorite TV shows. Number 1, Stranger Things. I love Stranger Things. I've seen it, I've seen the first season at least 8 times, I think. Because I can rewatch it. I love it just as much as the first time every time I watch it. Second season I haven't seen as many times, but I have seen it numerous times. I've only seen the 3rd season twice. If you've seen the show, the ending is quite emotional for me. And so even though I know that it's not like what really happened, it makes me really sad. So I just don't watch the 3rd season a lot. Plus it's newer, so I haven't had as many times to rewatch it. So that's my number 1 favorite TV show. I love that show. It's funny, it's clever. The casting, oh my gosh, it's just so good. It's so clever. Everything. I just love that show. So that's my number 1. My second favorite show is a show called The Mentalist. Some people have heard of this, some people haven't. It's a crime drama about this man who he's like really observant. Like he notices things that other people could notice but don't. And he used to pretend to be a psychic. He was like a fake psychic, and he would scam people out of their money. And then he either got found out, or when he came clean about how he's not real psychic, his wife and child were murdered by a serial killer. Starts working with the police department as like a contractor, or whatever they call them, to catch other murderers, because he is very observant. Growing up, one of the shows we really liked to watch was Psych. Psych is like The Mentalist, but like a funnier version. The Mentalist is also kind of funny. He's a quirky guy, he's funny. But Psych is more of like a comedy. The Mentalist was a little more dark. I love The Mentalist. The show as a whole is really good. Again, I love the characters, I love the casting. It stayed pretty solid, I feel like, for the most part. Okay, so Stranger Things and The Mentalist. Now, coming in for number 3, I'm gonna have to say Twin Peaks, which is embarrassing. One, because that show is buck wild, okay? I know that it is. This truck seriously keeps getting so close to me, I don't know what his issue is. Twin Peaks. what is it about? It's set in the 80s. It's from the 80s. It's a show from, or the 90s, one or the other. It's weird. It's about this girl. Well, it's not about her, but this girl in this small, quirky little weird town is found dead on a beach. And so then they bring in this detective named Cooper to try to find out what happened to her. In the meantime, all these weird, like, supernatural, creepy things are happening. And you're just trying to find out who killed Laura Palmer. Twin Peaks holds a special place in my heart, and I honestly can't even explain why. When I lived in Chicago for a year. I was going to school there. I started it, and it kind of scared me a few times. Like, I had to, like, turn it off. I was, like, watching it by myself, and it probably shouldn't have scared me. It probably wouldn't scare anybody else. I'm just kind of a wimp. Sue me. But Twin Peaks, yeah, it's odd. I wanted to walk down the aisle to the Twin Peaks theme so bad. But another one of my favorites, My Heart Will Go On by the iconic Celine Dion. That's what I ended up walking down the aisle to, which was the right choice. But I do love the theme to Twin Peaks. It's just so strange. But Twin Peaks, another good thing about it, another reason that it's so near and dear, is my cat is named after a character on Twin Peaks. Cooper, who's the detective in the show, his love interest is a woman named Annie, and that's why I named my cat Annie. I wanted to name her Annie. Jared didn't want a cat, and so he said he got to pick the name, and I told him I wanted to name her Annie after Annie from Twin Peaks, and he said no, but we can name her Anakin because of Anakin Skywalker. And I was like, so we'll call her Annie like they did in Star Wars? And he said yes. So to him it's Anakin / Annie from Star Wars, but for me it's just Annie because I named her Annie from Twin Peaks. Either way, we both got what we wanted, except he got a cat, and he didn't want that. 4, which is tricky because this should technically probably be above Twin Peaks just because of how much I love it, and compared to how many times I've seen this show, it should go higher, but it's just, I just love Twin Peaks that much. It's just like I don't know how to explain it. But number 4 would have to be Gilmore Girls. I've watched Gilmore Girls so many times, and the best way I'd explain Gilmore Girls to people about why I love it so much, Gilmore Girls is like the show equivalent of a hug to me. Like, it's just so comforting. The characters I love. I was going through the series when I was falling in love with Jared, and so there's also a lot of memories connected to that show because of what was going on in my life at the time. So now whenever I watch it, it just takes me, like, certain episodes will just send me straight back to being a 19-year-old girl falling in love for the first time. And there's just something so special about that show. My older brother, this is one of the shows my older brother hates. He hates it. And I'll tell you why. It's because he has bad taste. So it's quite unfortunate, really. Gilmore Girls is iconic. I love it. Let me explain Gilmore Girls. Gilmore Girls is about a single mom and her daughter going through life together, falling in love, going through school, starting businesses. So it's just about them and their lives together in this small, podunky little town. I just love it. It's just a sweet show. You get so connected to the people. You love them. You want the best for them. I love it. Coming in at number 5, it would have to be Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Now, I did not want to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine because Jared told me I would like it. And if you know me, I'm a little stubborn sometimes. And he would watch it, and Andy Samberg, who I adore, okay, now that I know him, he was just so loud. Like, anytime he would make a joke, it was like he was screaming. I was like, why is he so loud? Like, it's just unnecessary. And so I decided that I didn't like it. And Jared bugged me for so long, telling me to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I told him no. And then my best friend Marco said that he's watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he thinks I needed to watch it, so I finally gave it a chance. And now it's one of my favorite shows. I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine because it can make me physically laugh harder than any other TV show that I've ever watched. Like, I laugh so much and so hard when I watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And a lot of the reasons, so Marco, my friend Marco, he used to be my boss. He was my manager when I worked at the movie theater. Oh, I do need to do a movie theater video. He was my manager, and we worked well together. I mean, we worked together a lot just because of like the way our shifts were. It was like always me and Marco. I feel like we got along pretty well, but just the dynamic that me and Marco had is exactly, and I do mean exactly, like the dynamic between Andy Samberg's character Jake and the Captain Holt. I mean, exactly. I swear there are conversations that Holt and Jake have that me and Marco had. Holt, he's all, I don't even know how to explain it. He's a hard worker. He's pretty straight to the point. His sense of humor is just a little different. And Jake is just like a nut job. Like, he's crazy, he's goofy. He's a hard worker though, and he does always end up doing the right thing. And if he does the wrong thing, it's for a good reason. And just the way they interact, and the way Holt talks to him, and the way like Jake is constantly wanting his approval, all that stuff. Like, it was me and Marco, and it's still me and Marco. I would much rather have Marco as a friend than a boss. Not that he was a bad boss. He was a good boss. I really enjoyed working for him. But he's one of my all-time very best friends. Whenever I watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it just makes me happy. It makes me miss the theater. You know. So those are my top 5s. Those are my top 5 favorite shows. If you've never seen them, I highly suggest watching any of the ones I named above, except for Twin Peaks. I will never suggest Twin Peaks to anybody because it's just not for everybody. If you haven't heard of Twin Peaks, there's probably a reason, and you probably shouldn't watch it. The rest of them, all solid. I highly encourage anybody to watch them. Don't watch Twin Peaks and decide to make your opinions about who I am as a person off of them, because it's not fair, and that's all I have to say. I don't think people that I know are watching this will enjoy Twin Peaks if they're not already in the fandom, if that makes sense. So my next top 5 faves will probably be movies, so that'll probably be my next one. Everybody loves a good movie. Anyway, I'm about to smash on some chicken nuggets.